Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back with another video. Today I want to talk about the HyperX Cloud Orbit and why it's the best gaming headphone. Now the question is, why would someone buy this headphone, right? So if you came from a headphone like this is the HyperX Cloud Alpha, it's like $100. This headphone is really good, but I think the sound quality could be better. Now when I say this headphone's good, I mean like honestly between this headphone and this headphone, if you're playing competitive video games, I don't think this headphone's gonna give you advantage over this. However, I think this headphone is superior in when you listen to music, watching movies, and enjoying like just the ambiance of a game. Like you just want to listen to the soundtrack, the noises, the sound of a game will sound more realistic and more live with this headphone. Combined with this 3D functionality, I think it really makes the gaming a much more immersive experience. And that's why you would go with a headphone like this. But if you just want to play competitive games, I think this headphone's fine. This one will work also just as good. Also, before we start, please like and subscribe down below. It really helps my video out and get up there on that YouTube algorithm. And let's begin. All right, so let's talk about the product from outside in. So it has a plastic build quality, which is totally fine with me. It's plastic to reduce the weight, to keep it lighter. These headphones are pretty heavy at like 380 grams. Kind of makes my neck sore the first like month or so, until I built up that neck muscle so I could actually wear this for longer hours without my neck feeling sore. It is what it is. And then this padding in here, I think it's kind of thin. My initial review, it kind of gave me a sore spot on top of my head, like right here. But over time, I found that it doesn't really bother me because I got used to it. And now I can't even feel the sore spot, so take that with a grain of salt. But definitely something I think they could improve on. Then when it comes to the side paddings, I really like these side paddings. They're very comfortable. There's no complaints. They're really plushy. And they're even better than like the alphas. And then these headphones also swivel, which is really good. So when you put it on your head, it has nice adjustability, as well as you're able to put it like flat against your side if you want. And the next thing is all the functionality of your headphones can be controlled from the left side and the left ear cup. Let's talk about the controls that comes with the headphones. So you can mute your mic or not. Over here, you can change the volume of your mic. You can change the volume of your headphone as well. You can also charge your headphone through the USB-C / connect it to your PC. You obviously have your microphone right here. And then you also have a normal headphone jack right here if you need that. So it has all the buttons you need on the left side. There's additional functionality which you can look through the manual. That can allow you to change a lot of settings as well. And then there's a 3D button right here. I don't want to go over all the settings because there's so many different ways to activate them. So let's talk about sound quality. So what makes these headphones so special? So one of the things that makes the sound quality so good is that the drivers that have inside of this is different from like a traditional headphone that use dynamic drivers. These actually use these things called planar magnetic drivers, and these are able to reduce sound much better and more accurate than a lot of conventional dynamic drivers. And the other thing that makes this headphone really good is that it's made by a company called Odyssey. So Odyssey is a company that makes like $4,000 headphones, and they basically made a headphone called the Odyssey Mobius, and then through like association with HyperX basically got their headphone, which is kind of stripped down version of the Odyssey Mobius, but it's a very, very good headphone made by basically a really, really, really good audio company. That's why the sound quality sounds so good. All right, so let's talk about the sound quality, which you kind of have to go through the software and talk about the different EQs or sound profiles that they have. So the different sound profiles is flat, default, footsteps, all these you can see, right? My favorite one is flat. I use this one like 90% of the time. When I'm gaming sometimes, if it sounds like overwhelming, then I'll use warm for a much more comfortable experience. And then after that, I might use default and music. After that, the rest of these, footsteps, ballistics, racing, RPG, honestly, I tried them. I don't really use them that often, but those are the ones I like the most. Now, when you're using this headphone, there's different modes. So you can see that my favorite mode to use is 3D on, 7.1 channel, and flat, right? And you can use these modes in different combinations. And by clicking through these, you can turn off the 3D. You can change your modes by clicking that as well. And important thing to note about 3D, right? So this is kind of the 3D page. When using 3D, you gotta make sure you measure your head the correct size to have an accurate 3D experience. And then the most important thing is this room ambience slider on 3D. So if you slide it to the right, there's a lot of like echo basically. Slide to the left, there's not a lot of echo. I use mine at 0 because I don't think echo makes anything sound better. But you can still get a 3D capability without the room ambience echo. So I just like to make that 0, and that's how I use my headphone. And I think this is a really, really good setting to use it. And besides that, that's the software. There's a lot of different like combinations you can use, but the software is really not that bad at all. I tend to use flat the most because the profile is kind of, like it says, it's flat. You can hear everything well, versus default has its own signature, which I don't like as much as flat. And then warm is kind of what I imagine like more consumer friendly. So the Cloud Alphas, I would say, sound more like warm. A lot of headphones sound more warm because it's more comfortable. The bass is higher and the highs are kind of toned down a bit, so you don't get that extra like treble. And I find that like if I'm playing games like Valorant using flat, sometimes it gets kind of like the gunshots get kind of loud. It kind of get noisy in my head, and I'll switch it to warm, and that's much like more comfortable experience when you're gaming. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's talk about the different modes of this headphone. So there's 3 modes. So there's 2-channel mode, so left and right ear cups. There's high res, which is also a 2-channel, but with high res. And then the third one is 7.1 channel, which is basically kind of like what most people consider surround sound. And then the last mode is the 3D mode, which you can combine with any of those previous 3 modes I just mentioned. And that leads to like a lot of different combinations and different ways you listen to this. On top of that, there's 7 different EQs, which are different sound profiles that you can listen to. So if you add up all those combinations of ways you can listen to your music and stuff, there's a lot of combinations. However, to simplify things, I'm just going to let you guys know what I tend to listen to it. You either listen to it in high res, 2-channel, 3D is off, and then EQ is flat, or whichever one EQ you want. That's generally one listening mode that most people use. The second listening mode, which is the one I use the most, is I like to leave it in basically 7.1 channel, so like the surround sound combined with 3D, which is makes it surround sound even better. And then in that mode, I like to listen to it in flat. That's like my favorite mode. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can configure this headphone the way you want, but that's just my recommendation. I won't go through every single different combination because it will just confuse everybody, but that's my favorite mode. So if I had to describe the 3D mode and what it kind of sounds like, so imagine a normal mode is kind of 2 channels, so just left ear, right ear, so you kind of hear 2 sounds, and kind of the difference between these is kind of how you judge the position. But the 3D mode, it somehow like forms like a ring around your head type of thing. So you kind of hear sounds when they're in front of you, to the left, to the right, and when they're like close to left and right ear sounds. So it's kind of like a ring, and it's easier to tell like where the sounds are coming from. And I find that really interesting and unique in the way they do that. And that's why I think the 3D mode is pretty amazing. And that's probably the easiest way for me to describe to you what it sounds like. All right, so now let's do a sound test of the microphone. So right now I have the microphone plugged in, and I'm boosting the sound all the way up. And the mic is really close to my mouth, so it should come across. I think the sound's decent, okay. The major complaint I get about this mic is if I don't have the mic right next to my mouth, my friends will be like, oh, I can't hear you, or you're kind of quiet. They have to make sure my mic is closer to my mouth, and that's about it. And make sure you can turn up your microphone volume as well on the highest setting as well, so everyone can hear you fine. So yeah, these headphones have been my daily drivers for like the past like 5 months, I believe. And honestly, I ran through these a lot, and there's some things I like about them, some things I don't like about them, right? So the 3D has been such a huge surprise to me. I literally use 3D 24/7. It's amazing. It's the default mode I use it on. I think it's really, a lot of reviewers kind of like undersold it. I think I even when I bought the headphone, I didn't think 3D was going to be anything. But then after I used it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Especially when you're watching movies, 3D is just absolutely amazing. I'd love to keep it on. So let's talk about some of the things I don't like about this headphone. So the mic. The mic sometimes sounds a little quiet unless you have it like right next to your mouth, then you're fine. But sometimes I get complaints that it's like quiet, so I have to make sure the microphone, sorry, is right next to my mouth. The other thing that I don't like about this headphone is this cable. So it comes with like a USB-C cable, but I find this cable constantly just gets kinked up, and I don't really complain about cables, but it basically will twist up itself, and about every week I have to like unwind it. I haven't had that problem with like any other cables in the past, but I'm just gonna mention that because it's actually a thing that I've never experienced before. But obviously you can buy yourself a different cable, but like the cable works, it's fine. But it's just a little nitpicking thing that I didn't like about it. So kind of another weird quirk about this headphone is that I think it has about an 8 hour auto shut off time limit. So what happens is sometimes I'll turn it on in the morning at like 8, but by the time it's like 5 and I'm like in the middle of playing a game, I'll just auto shut off by itself as like a power saving feature. But then like I'm constantly using the headphone, but it doesn't know I'm using it, so it just automatically shuts itself off. So yeah, if you're using this headphone for like longer than 8 hours, that kind of sucks. But I find it kind of annoying that it just randomly closes when I don't want it to close. So in conclusion, yes, these are the best gaming headphones money can buy. I really do recommend them. I use these as my daily drivers. They make everything sound so good and crisp, and I honestly don't see myself needing anything else for now. And yeah, I mean, there's always headphones you use for different situations, like AirPods for convenience and stuff, but these headphones, for sure, for sound quality, they're amazing. For gaming, competitive gaming, they're amazing. They can do everything. Movie watching, amazing. And yeah, I can recommend these more. There's some quirks, like I mentioned before, that there's some downsides, so pay attention to those if those annoy you. And yeah, please like and subscribe down below. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.